Crash Bandicoot is back, baby! Chances are that you know this guy, especially if you were a kid in the 90s. Ever since I saw the announcement for this trilogy, I've been waiting for it to release, while also staying away from the potential spoilers. And while there aren't many new things or features, there are some. If you by any chance don't know what game this is, Crash Bandicoot was released back in 1996 by Naughty Dog. After getting favorable reviews, they continued making more games, like Crash Bandicoot 2 and Crash Team Racing. It was praised for its amazing graphics for the time. Crash is also one of the most well-known icons for PlayStation. After Crash, Mind Over Mutant, the Crash games stopped coming. Until now. Crash Sanity is a brilliant remake/remaster of the first trilogy. Developed by Vicarious Visions, who've tried breathing some life into the series again. This game is truly
a smashing blast from the past!
First off, the game looks so freaking pretty with very fitting graphics for this type of game. But the problem lies in the way it's played. The controls are much more precise, even in the first game, and it becomes an obstacle instead of helping the player. Certain levels are so damn frustrating to play when you need to jump at the very end of the platforms to reach the next, and sometimes Crash just slides off the platforms or crates.
I promise. Please.
After playing the high road from Crash 1, a famous hard level, you'll probably feel real suicidal. But I'm going to talk about them separately first, starting with of course Crash 1. Crash 1 hits you with the nostalgia right off the bat, and it feels good to be back. The game that feels the most different from its original release is this one. The physics has changed dramatically, and you'll probably notice it during your first minutes. One other major change is that they've added time trials for every level, improving the replayability and challenge by a huge margin. After clearing the first 2 to 3 levels, the player can also unlock the ability to play as Crash's sister, Coco. And even though she's pretty much the same as Crash mechanics wise, it's still nice to be able to change characters now and then. Unlike the original, they've also removed the need to finish every level without dying, while also destroying all the boxes. This is honestly a good improvement, especially for newer and or younger players. And the levels that have colored gems still need to be finished without dying, which I appreciate greatly. They could have added an option to change between the settings, original or new, for those who would like it. Crash 1 also feels both better and worse compared to the original. In the beginning, it takes some time to get used to the new mechanics and physics, but after some levels it feels right again, until you get to the harder levels later on in the game, such as Slippery Climb, the High Road or the Lab. Make sure you have a pillow right beside you when trying to play some of these, as you'll want to scream your lungs out when you die at the end of a no death stage because you didn't jump at the very end of the platform, so you slip off and die. It's fucking frustrating, and the memes and parodies that mix Crash and Sanity with Dark Souls is highly inaccurate. Why? Because Dark Souls is hard with a good design, Crash Sanity is hard because it has wonky physics and hitboxes. And that's not all. There's no ability to restart a stage when you die, so if you need to get, let's say, the red gem at Slippery Climb, and you die, you need to first quit out, sit through a loading screen, select the stage, sit through a loading screen, and finally you get another try. This can take minutes. But there's also major improvements, as I was saying earlier. One of them is the well-needed save function in all games. Before, you had to finish a certain stage before you could save your game, but now you can do it whenever you like. Another one is the ability to replay bonus stages if you fail them. And if you happen to die in a bonus stage, that death doesn't count like a normal death, meaning you can still get the colored gem. Overall, I can't really say which version I prefer of the old and new. There's positive and negatives with both versions. A combination between both versions would have been perfect. But I'm not saying that the new version is bad. It's good, and there are many who prefer it over the original. I'm just not sure if I'm one of them. Crash 2 on the other hand, feels and plays better almost through the entire game. There are still some very annoying things that happen from time to time, but overall it's a better experience. One huge difference between the first and second game is the ability to duck, slide and do a high jump. This gives the player more freedom of movement, and it also gave Naughty Dog the ability to go wild back in the day. Still, it feels like something isn't quite right here either. You can still slide off boxes and platforms, and it's still just as frustrating. The one new thing that I don't like is in the bear sections, when Crash rides his little ice bear or polar bear. That sounds so freaking wrong, but these levels feel clumsy and stale. It feels like the camera lags, and also like the speed of the bear varies, even if you're not pressing the boost button. But worst of all, the camera pans in certain sections, and it kinda moves the player when it pans, something like that. At least that's how it feels like. And this makes it a chore to play if you're trying to get all the boxes, since the hitboxes can be wacky too. Crash 2 also had newly added time trials, which is a really good addition, but now on to Crash 3. The main difference between Crash 2 and 3 is that Warped have these extra abilities which you gain after killing a boss. Otherwise, Crash 2 and 3 are very much alike, gameplay wise, so I won't be babbling about this game that much. All I'll say is that this game feels and plays best out of the three, but there are still some points I'd like to bring up. It was during me playing Crash 3 that I noticed what felt wrong, so to speak. And it's that all these three games feel so stale in comparison. And I can't quite put my finger on what's wrong in this trilogy. But I still think it's too stale for a Crash game. But that's just my opinion. The boat sections with Coco, and when she rides her tiger, I think, is the most annoying parts. The boat slides when you try to drive it, and during the tiger sections on the Great Wall of China, it feels very sluggish. But overall, Crash 3 is the best experience of the three. One thing that I always look or listen for in a video game is the sound design and soundtrack. And let me tell you, this trilogy have them both. Every soundtrack is remade to fit right into this generation of game soundtracks, and I really can't complain about any of them. There are also some new features in all games that make the whole experience even better. One example is when you enter any level, you get tips regarding that level. Sometimes very important ones, so be sure to read them all. Every level has been recreated to a T, and I can't help but smile when I play the game. The Egyptian levels, who were my favorite before, is so damn epic. Crash and Sanity stays true to the original games in spirit, and hopefully they'll start making Crash Bandicoot games again. The demand is there, since apparently the game has sold very well globally. And even though the game has some issues, like minor bugs or that hitboxes can be wonky sometimes, my experience with the game has been good. For fans of the series, I can easily recommend this game. However, for those that didn't like the original games or those who aren't interested in these types of games, I cannot. I will say that it is a good game that have given me many hours of happy fun times. Oh, and if you have good eyes, make sure to look for the fake crashes. Some are well hidden, while some are in plain sight. Anyway, I think it's time for the final verdict. As you may have noticed, I'm conflicted about this game. Hugely so. On one hand, I love it, spending hours upon hours getting everything in the game. It's so damn fun. On the other hand, the game can be frustrating and unfair at times. This is hard, but the verdict must be made. The game earns a steady 7 out of 10, even though it lacks some things. At $40, this game is worth its asking price, and all in all, it's a good game, leaving me wanting more Crash, which I hope I can get in the future. But I still rather go back and boot up the original trilogy to relive the golden era of Crash Bandicoot. A big thank you for watching this review. I strive to get better and better with every video I make, and a subscription would help with that. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike. I hope you have a great one. See ya.